Welcome to Tell Vanessa. I'm your host, Vanessa Cruickshank. So what have we got in store for you today? Well, we highlight an interesting topic and debate, we showcase an inspiring business story, then we discuss your dilemmas. And of course, we finish with some good musical talent. So for the next 30 minutes, sit back, relax and enjoy. Tell Vanessa. Research has shown that almost 60% of men and over 45% of women will cheat at some point in their relationships. With such high figures of infidelity in relationships, is it high time for us to reassess the traditional forms of dating for a more, let's say, polyamorous lifestyle? So on tonight's show, we discuss polyamory. Is this the way forward for 21st century dating? Good evening. Let me ask you both a question. What is the difference between polygamy and polyamorous lifestyle?
Well, polygamy is literally multiple marriages, which is A, obviously illegal, but B, tends to be more of a religious thing, particularly in certain sects of Mormonism, although I have to point out, before my Mormon friends yell at me, not the position of the main Mormon church.
Okay.
And also, notably, in Islam. But whereas polyamory is many loves. It's multiple relationships rather than multiple marriages. So they can be just dating, you can be married to one person and dating some people.
So have you both partaken in a more polyamorous lifestyle?
Oh, yeah. In fact, one of our partners is one of our partners, and we both have the same partner as well as other partners.
So you share?
Yeah, we have one partner that we share, yes.
So then isn't a polyamorous lifestyle more, if we take religion out of it, almost like some kind of open relationship?
An open relationship is one way to have an ethically non-monogamous lifestyle. The main point of polyamory is that everything is, as you say, open, but also honest and emotionally attached.
So as I said, like 60% of men and 45% of women are already kind of almost adopting this kind of lifestyle. Why do we even need to have a label?
There's a difference between cheating and being in a polyamorous lifestyle. One of the main big important factors that we always emphasize is that cheating is possible in a polyamorous relationship. It's not part of polyamory any more than cheating is part of monogamy.
So let me ask you both, why do you need to have more than one partner?
It's not so much a case of need.
Are you being greedy?
I mean, you know, obviously if it's cake, that's a whole different issue.
Yes, no, cake is a very different issue. But I like to think of it as, it's not being greedy because I am not keeping these partners all to myself. It's a matter of, I am my own person, and I may date as many people as I wish, and my partners know about this. But equally, they are also their own people who can date as many people as they wish. I am not hoarding these partners all to myself. They are all able to go forth and have as many partners as they have time for, which I have to say these days is not very many in my case.
They're sharing their time, their love, their energy with us. That's not the same as saying we own them. They're not possessions. You know, we're sharing. We're in a relationship to share together. Just because I happen to be sharing, you know, in multiple different relationships does not make each individual relationship any less important.
So what about jealousy? Because jealousy is a big emotion in society. Does that happen with the polyamorous lifestyle?
Oh, yes. It's just that different people have different ways of dealing with it. The main important ways I always give when I do my intro to poly talks is there are two different types of jealousy. There is envious jealousy, which is I would like to do that as well. And then there is possessive jealousy, which I always characterize as get your hands off my partner before I scratch your eyes out. And but the basis of both of them tends to be some insecurity in the relationship.
Okay.
And sometimes this can be overcome by analysing and communicating, and sometimes it's just something you have to live
But
with.
isn't it really difficult to deal with multiple partners and multiple emotions, not just physically, but literally emotionally?
Well, it's no more difficult than, say, having a large family, I guess. I mean, you know, people choose to have large families as well. I don't personally have relationships where I feel like offering emotional support to one partner is reducing the amount of emotional support that I can offer to another.
Okay.
But that's mainly because, you know, because of the way those relationships are set up, I'm able to offer them the amount of support that they need from me. And I happen to have been in relationships where most of the partners that I have aren't needing full-time, say, for example, full-time care from me.
Okay.
Which, if that was the case, that would be a different scenario. I would have to set things up differently.
So let me ask you a question then, thinking about this. Is it normal, like heterosexual relationships? What kind of relationships take place within the kind of polyamorous lifestyle? Sorry.
All sorts. I will say that probably there is a larger than average queer community in the polyamory community.
Okay.
Specifically within the UK.
Yes, specifically within the UK. The US apparently is a lot more like cis-het.
Cis is the opposite to transgender. So if you are identifying as the gender that you were assigned at birth, and heterosexual.
Okay, and you also do something called a Polyday?
Yes.
What was that?
So that's an annual event that we run each year for the polyamorous community, allies, and people who are curious. We have workshops, talks, social sort of sessions for a whole day, and then, you know, some evening socializing as well. And this runs the gamut from, you know, Poly 101, which every year we need to have some form of introduction for poly, to other ones which are more detailed, like polyamory and mental health is one we've had in the past, or, you know, polyamory and parenting, which is also one that people find very useful.
When you talk about parenting, that means that actually a lot of these people have children. So isn't there a moral kind of argument then here that you're almost bringing children up to kind of think it's acceptable to have more than one partner?
Yes.
In what way is it unacceptable to have more than one partner as long as everyone knows about it and it's all ethical and consensual?
The way I like to say is what you have multiple loving parental influences, and what child is, you know, the worse for having multiple loving parental influences, right?
But I guess a child is very influenced at a young age. What they see as deemed normal is what they will follow. So if you're putting a particular lifestyle in front of a young person and saying, this is the way to go, it's more than likely that that's the direction that they're going to follow in.
I mean, so far, and obviously this may change in the future, but so far most polyamorous people I know didn't come from polyamorous backgrounds. So
but I think that's maybe because
and also that
polyamorous at the moment, is still quite new though, isn't it? So it's not like people were talking about this maybe 20, 30, 40 years ago. To me, it's still quite new. So I would expect that probably most people would come from, you know, a normal relationship.
Yes, but equally, it's a rather peculiar argument, and the argument you're making is the one that was made sort of 20 years ago about gay couples having children, which is obviously they're going to end up like their parents. And I'd like to point out I'm one of 5, and despite being raised by 2 women, I'm the only gay one. So, and you know, yes, maybe they will turn out to be poly. So what? It's as long as it's a perfectly ethical lifestyle. This is the point of it.
So my other argument then is, are you also showing them then what it's like to understand about being in a heterosexual relationship with just a man and a woman in a couple? So are they getting to see all sides of the argument, or are they only seeing one side?
So a couple of my partners are married and do have young children. And they have been, I mean, obviously they're currently still very young, but when they get old enough, they have already decided that it's going to be very open. And one of the big things that polyamory, in my experience, has been about is being very open and communicating with your partners and living the partnered lifestyle that you feel is most suitable for being your honest self, your true self. And if it turns out that they don't want to be polyamorous, then
That's up to them.
that's up to them. That's also their choice. But we want to make it clear to them that if they choose not to be in a traditional monogamous relationship, that's fine as well.
And you said one of your partners. So how many relationships are you in?
4.
And what about you?
Currently only one, because I am exceptionally busy and dating unfortunately takes time.
Well, listen, Charlotte and Eunice, thank you so much for coming to talk to me. You've enlightened me because I didn't know much about polyamory. So thank you both.
Thank you.
Well, what can I say except for different strokes for different folks? A polyamorous lifestyle definitely has its benefits for some. I understand the concept of having your cake and eating it too. But for me, I'm not into sharing. So a polyamorous lifestyle doesn't entice me at all. But I guess it doesn't have to. Each of us are individuals and have our own preferences and our own choices. So if polyamory is for you, what can I say except for each to their own?
Tell Vanessa, just tell Vanessa now.
It's deliberate sponsors Tell Vanessa. It's deliberate sponsors Tell Vanessa.
Tell Vanessa, just tell Vanessa now.
Now we have a bacon genius here with us in the studio, founder and chief executive of Vanilla Orchid Bakery, Hope. Good evening, Hope.
Good evening.
Thank you so much for coming to the studio and bringing these fabulous cakes with you.
You're welcome.
You provided cakes for the likes of Tommy Hilfiger and royalty. How did you get your passion for baking?
So I've always loved anything sweet. I've always had a sweet tooth. So when I was about 20, I used to spend so much time in a particular cake shop. And from there I thought, you know what, I'm spending too much time and money in this shop. I'm gonna try and do this on my own. So I Googled a recipe, it was red velvet. I baked the cake and put some blueberries on the cake, gave it to a friend, and he said it tasted like it's come straight out of heaven. And from that moment,
You've
my
been
passion-
baking. But how did you actually bake a cake for like Tommy Hilfiger? How did that start?
So with Tommy Hilfiger, one day I started calling around loads of PR companies, and loads of them didn't get back to me, but Tommy Hilfiger just happened to email, and they wanted some cupcakes for their press day. So I made them a variety of cupcakes, including Oreo chocolate red velvet, topped it with their logo, and they loved it, and they've been a happy client ever since.
But you've also baked for African royalty.
Yes, I have. So that came about because I worked with the London Capital Club, which is a private members club, and they were having the King of Ghana in for an event. So they asked me to make a cake for him, which was a 2-tier cake, and it had the Ghana flag inside the cake.
Wow, that's really elaborate.
So that was very fun to do. And on the exterior of the cake was the traditional Ashanti cloth.
So what flavour did you make for him though?
So that was actually just vanilla and strawberry conserve. So it was very simple.
Okay, but still looked great.
It still looked great.
But this hasn't always been your industry because you started off in TV. How did you make the transition from TV into baking?
Yeah, so I was the senior production coordinator for BAFTA, overseeing the film and TV awards.
And that's quite elaborate.
It is elaborate. It's very much gowns and Converse. So I was doing that, absolutely loved it. But I was doing that in the day, and at night I would go and bake all my orders and probably not sleep. So I would start going to work late, and my manager would just look at me thinking, what is going on? But I was actually at delivering all these cakes that I'd been baking at night. And so I made a decision. I need to either stay at BAFTA or I need to start a cake business. So I traveled for 6 weeks around the world, and then I came back and I just quit my job and I started the company.
So you quit your job just like that?
Just like that.
Wasn't that scary?
It was the scariest thing I've ever done because I didn't have a plan. I thought I had a plan, but nothing ever goes to plan when you start a business.
Do you know what? I like stories like that because I did something similar, just decided to quit my job. And it's inspirational when people hear stories about people just going for their dreams.
Yeah, it was a very scary time, but it was, I haven't looked back, and I wouldn't look back, and I highly recommend that if anyone has a dream, just follow it.
Definitely. But how do you get your different flavours together? Do you ever do things that are really exciting and different?
Yeah, so I did a cake for a bride, and she had bacon and maple syrup.
Bacon? Of all the flavours, bacon?
It was absolutely delicious. The smokiness from the bacon, the sweetness from the maple syrup, it's just absolutely divine together.
I'm not sure about the bacon. Anything else? Anything else you've done
Chili
different?
and chocolate.
I'm not sure about the chili and the chocolate either, though. What flavours have you brought here?
So today, I don't know if you like them, there's chocolate and salted caramel.
Okay.
Oreo and chocolate, raspberry.
I like raspberry, you see. But I can see all the team around me looking at these cakes. They've all got designs on these cakes.
So at least you can have one.
Yeah, definitely. So what next for you, though? Because you've actually managed to build up such a thriving business. Where else do you plan to go with it?
So a lot of our clients are requesting gluten-free and vegan cakes. So at the moment, we're working with a really great development chef, working on a few different gluten-free and vegan flavors. So that's what we have planned at the moment. So we're sending out tasters to our clients.
I'll be a
feedback.
taster. I'm not vegan, but I can still taste your cakes.
I'll hold you to that.
Definitely. And a little birdie tells me that you're getting married.
I am indeed.
Are you going to be making your own cake?
Definitely. I wouldn't trust anyone else to do it.
Any different flavours you're planning to? Are you going to do bacon for yourself?
No, it's a summer wedding and I've got a very simple palette. So it'll probably be elderflower drizzle with lemon. But it'll be a very elaborate
That sounds nice,
cake.
though. That sounds nice. Listen, Pope, thank you so much for coming in the studio and talking to me this evening.
Yeah, thank you.
This is the part of the show where you tell me your dilemmas, I tell you what I think, and then we take it to the streets. Our first dilemma this evening is from a lady called Ellie. My boyfriend has naked pictures on his computer of his ex. It's not a secret, it's his screensaver. When I confronted him, he said, "Come on, Ellie, stop being so sensitive. I'm with you now." So I kind of let it slide. But every time he uses his computer, there she is. His ex is a size 10. I'm a size 16. She looks like a supermodel. Believe me, I don't. I brought it up again and he said, "Look, Ellie, instead of being so insecure about my ex, get yourself in shape so I don't have to have my ex as my screensaver." I was in total shock. Now I feel ugly, fat, and miserable. Am I being silly?
Tell Vanessa, just tell Vanessa now.
Honey, you are not being silly. Most people would be annoyed. There are a number of factors at play here. Your man doesn't respect your feelings, and he's making you feel insecure about your weight. You need to have a frank discussion with him, tell him it's bothering you, then tell him to get rid of the pictures, full stop. Make sure he knows that his comments are making you feel bad. If he really doesn't get it, then your future with this man looks bleak because he has no respect for you. So therefore, you need to have respect for yourself and walk. But like I say each week, this is just my advice. Let's hear what they say on the streets.
Well, I think this boy is tripping.
And I'm sure he doesn't even have a good-looking body.
If it was me, I'll be sitting my fat bum on his laptop.
You stay the person you are. You're beautiful, unique, and very special. And he's so disrespectful to you.
Yes, I
Isn't
agree.
he?
And remember, curvy girls are beautiful. Don't let him tell you different. Baby girl, listen, embrace your curves.
He completely ignores you and tells you to go to the gym instead.
well, you know, that's really an act of disrespect, and you know, you
Totally.
don't need
No,
people like that in your
totally.
life.
You sound like it's rebound. I'm so sorry.
Make sure you send him nudes as well once you left him with a good-looking body. Make sure.
Ellie, I hope you take our advice because, as they say, a problem shared is a problem halved. So if you've got a problem, email us here at dilemma@tellvanessa.com. So we've come to the end of another great show. I hope you've enjoyed the show as much as we have. I'd like to thank all our guests and thank you for sending in your dilemmas. If you want to comment on tonight's show, then get in touch with us. The information's on the bottom of the screen. So now I'm going to leave you with an artist who you've seen before, but I love this man. That's why we've had to get him back. His name is Luvly.
I've seen it all before. Yeah, the green lights and more. These late nights get rough. I'm an old soul with a new stride. I'm tired when I'm awfully going off the top. Cause it's easier to just say the words I'm proud. Then it's out the dome to roam around the block. To those ears, I'm nearly there. I've got the juice, yeah, something new, just giving up the truth. She bad, she keeps me on my toes. She mad. The same routine, stuck to the scene. She love how we do, she love how we lean. How easy it seems to say, hey, hey. I like where you work it, where you work it, hey, hey, yeah. Still like where you work it, hey. Yeah. Move with the green lights, didn't take no time. A day for some questions answered with rhymes. See, I could dwell in the moment, work till I own it. Or we rise up above it. My brothers fighting through this garbage. With all of this craft we done harnessed. Oh, gratitude. Give me nothing else to contribute. I'll do my dues, I keep working, boo. I know the truth, you the secret, so I keep attracting, boo. Like the way you work it, where you work it. Hey, 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 yeah. It's better than gold, and I hope I find you, my baby. I need some freedom, something that's better than gold, hey. And I hope I find you, my baby. I need some freedom. Something that's better than gold, and I hope I find you, yeah. I need some freedom, something that's better than gold, and I hope I find you.